And Attorney General Pam Bondi set to testify in Capitol Hill amid growing concerns over weaponization of the Justice Department. Among other things, she's expected to face tough questions about the Epstein files, deployments of federal troops to Democratic-run cities, and a growing number of investigations into President Trump's political enemies. ABC News Justice Department reporter Alex Mallin has more on that. So, Alex, what do lawmakers want to hear from Pam Bondi today?
Yeah, well, I think if you're looking for a transcript of this hearing later, you're going to want to Control F the word weaponization, because I think that's what Senate Democrats are really going to want to highlight throughout this hearing. The recent actions by this Justice Department to target President Trump's political enemies, seemingly at his direction. We saw that extraordinary tweet or post on Truth Social 2 weeks ago from President Trump that seemed to be a mistaken message that he intended to send privately to Attorney General Bondi that ordered her to essentially to begin prosecutions of his enemies, including former FBI Director James Comey, who was days later indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia over the objections of career prosecutors in that office. Now, we've extensively reported on this investigation into Comey and how Trump's hand-picked attorney, Lindsey Halligan, that he installed in that office after firing the U.S. attorney there that he had previously appointed, and resisted bringing charges against Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. So I think you're really going to see Democrats highlight this as the most open and brazen politicization, in their words, of the Justice Department in modern history. And I think on the flip side, you're going to see Senate Republicans kind of trying to deflect and say that this is a result of what they consider to be weaponization of the department under the Biden administration, obviously through the dueling prosecutions of President Trump when he was out of office for mishandling classified documents and seeking to overturn the 2020 election. So there's going to be, the typical back and forth that we do see at this hearing, but I think this just comes after a very tumultuous summer for this Justice Department, where we've seen Attorney General Bondi kind of embrace this role as a happy warrior for President Trump. And what she says is just carrying out the agenda that he was elected to initiate in the 2024 election. And I think that, we've never seen this Justice Department so openly embrace a White House. And I think that you're going to see Democrats really try and seize on that during this hearing.
And hundreds of former Justice Department employees sent a letter yesterday demanding Congress increase oversight over the Justice Department. That letter says, and I'm quoting here, "Each of us left the department either voluntarily or involuntarily because of actions taken by this administration." So what are you listening for on that front today?
Yeah, I think that this letter really reflects what we've heard from both current and former officials serving in this department and witnessing what we've seen with, again, what I just mentioned, this, open embrace of the White House that we have not seen since the Watergate era. I mean, obviously, these protections that were put in place after Watergate really intended to kind of shield the Justice Department and federal law enforcement off from influences by the White House, from political influences. And that's what's reflected in this letter. These officials who served across, immigration, the public integrity section that investigates, high-ranking public officials, they're really sounding the alarm in this letter, looking to highlight what they see as these, Trump appointees, many of whom were President Trump's personal defense attorneys, coming in and really, seizing control of these levers of federal law enforcement in order to effectuate President Trump's agenda.
And we just watched there live as Pam Bondi walked into the room. Alex, what else do you think these senators are going to be focused on, and what's Bondi's goal today?
Well, I think Attorney General Bondi is, known at these hearings. She comes equipped with a binder, and when she's, given pointed questions by Senate Democrats about things like the Epstein files, things like, open politicization, what she does is she tries to turn the tables. This binder that sits in front of her has a list of the Democratic senators' states and bullet points that include instances where illegal or undocumented immigrants have committed crimes or killed people. And what she does is, instead of answering the question, she says, you should be asking me about this undocumented immigrant who killed a woman in your state. Why aren't you asking me that? That's what we really see as a deflection effort by Attorney General Bondi in order to, not answer questions about their mishandling of the Epstein matter. I think that is going to be, again, another really big sticking point in this hearing, because, you saw the DOJ and FBI in that July letter say that they were going to make no further disclosures. They've since kind of walked that back after pressure from Congress. And I'm really going to be watching out to see if we hear any pressure or confrontations by Republican senators, because I think Attorney General Bondi in particular has faced criticism like no other Trump cabinet member has. And so I really want to see whether she is pressed by Republican members in addition to Democratic members, Diane.
And she is there as predicted, binder in hand. Alex Mallin, we will be watching, and I know so will you. Thank you.